Welcome to the Will the Orange Guy Python Logo Widgets project showcase. So you can start this repository, fork this repository, or choose to watch it to be updated on anything else that's coming up later on. What it is a group of widgets showing the Python logos that can be easily added to your Python GUI code. As we scroll down the page here, we can see that it's built out with 100% Python. Onto the README, we can see our key features, such as the fact that it includes high-quality images, it's easy to integrate into a Tinker GUI project, available as code or as an imported function, has built-in samples, and is cross-platform. So what you can do is you can download the source code to run the scripts from the command line on Windows, macOS, and Linux, or you can download them and add them into your own projects. There's also other methods, such as using git and pip. And finally, in order to add the widgets to your project, you just need to import the code files following these directions if you have downloaded them. So use import statements like this: from Tinker import wildcard, from logo import wildcard, from length import wildcard, and from width import wildcard. That is, of course, after you have copied the logo.py, length.py, width.py, and images folders to your projects. Then to call each of the widgets, you can use logo widget, length widget, and width widget. Now once you save and run that file, you are all set. Now there's more support available in the customization documentation and the usage documentation, both of which can be found on GitHub. This project is built in part with GitHub, the Python Software Foundation, and PyInstaller. And it's licensed under the GNU General Public License, which you can see in the license file by clicking here, which is also on the repository. Now we can scroll back up to the top of the page here, and we will see our main files. So if we go to our main.py, what this does is this basically calls each of the widgets into itself and runs them. So if you run main.py, it shows you a very basic overview of what the program itself does. And jumping back to the main repository, we can look at the length.py. So what length does is create a length widget. So it is a Python-powered widget, and it uses the length one. So it is wider instead of taller. Just creates a basic Tinker window with the title Python powered widget and the image in itself, as well as a label to put the image in. Can move back to the main part of the repository, and then there is the width.py one. So this does very, very similar to the length widget. Exact same code, does the exact same thing, except now it has a taller widget. And moving back to the main page of the repository, finally there is logo.py, which creates the exact same thing as before, except instead of a width widget or a length widget, which have, say, Python powered, these just show the Python logo. So as you can see, the title is reflected to update that, and it says Python Logo Widget, just like that. So we'll head back to the main repository here. And as you can see, those would be exactly what would show up here. So here would be the Python Logo Widget, here would be the length widget, and here would be the width widget. So as you can see, some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, depending on how you feel that would best benefit your project. So welcome back. I've opened the Python Logo Widgets GitHub repository in my preferred code editor, Visual Studio Code, and so now we can see each of the functions as they work on their own. So we'll start by running the logo.py file, so in the opposite order of what we did before. So we just see all these functions here, and if we press the F5 button, select run it as a Python file, and it will load the program and pop open the window. So loading it on the terminal, running it using the Python executable. There is a easy to use window which shows the Python logo just like that. So it's a very easy widget, shows the Python logo. We can expand the window if we want, like this, and it'll continue to stick it at the bottom. So let's say this was our main program page. We could have all of our text on the top here, and all of our buttons on the top, and then maybe a smaller version of the logo, which can be changed. Yes, as I alluded to before, if you want to change the size of the logo, you can just go into this photo image and these labels here and use Tinker commands to change the size of the logo, customizing it for your own needs. Now heading back to the the code over here, we'll go to our widthpy.next. And so we'll run that again by pressing F5. It'll load. And here we go. Now we see the smaller Python powered widget. And in the same way as before, we can stretch this out. Maybe we have a wider thing, and maybe it's taller. So we'll drag it down, and maybe now you have your text on the top. Maybe you have another program logo over here and another program logo over here, and that'll look all nice in there. Now closing that, we can move on to the length widget. So we'll press F5 again to run it. And there we go. Now we see the tiny little length widget. This is probably best for putting in a small inconspicuous place of a program. It comes as the smallest image already, but as I alluded to before, all of the images can be changed to whatever size you feel the need. So you just move this around like this, and it stays stuck on the bottom the whole entire time. Finally, we'll move into the main.py file. So this is basically what you would do if you were to include this in your own program. So you would call all the files using import statements, have all of the widgets here, and calling them wherever you need them, as well as having the images folder. And then this would allow you to call in whatever widget you needed wherever you needed it. So we'll start by doing this, and this will just create a very basic preview window of the program. So we start off with our logo widget as before. Then we will see our length widget, and then we will see our width widget. So if you were to add this to your own program, you could just copy and paste those things in there, add them to wherever you felt it fit in your program, and then it would work out just great and look nice. So that way you can give credit to Python and the program language that you love programming in, all while having a nice looking program. If you want to see this in some of my own programs, you can look at some under the Dogface Development GitHub organization, as quite a few of them feature these logo widgets.